Namaskar viewers, hello and welcome to Sansad TV. I'm Tina Jha, you're watching Perspective. Today on the show, we are focusing on the landmark Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement between India and Oman, signed on the 18th of December during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Muscat. This agreement marks a major milestone in India's engagement with Oman, promising to significantly boost bilateral trade, create employment opportunities, expand exports, strengthen supply chains, and open new pathways for long-term economic cooperation between both the countries. The CEPA secures unprecedented tariff concessions for India. Oman has offered zero-duty access on 98% of its tariff lines, covering an extraordinary 99.38% of India's exports to the country. While from the Indian side, tariff liberalization has been extended on 77% of total tariff lines, covering 94.8% of India's imports from Oman by value. For the products of export interest to Oman and which are sensitive to India, the offer is mostly a tariff-rate quota-based tariff liberalization. Moreover, India has safeguarded critical sectors by placing sensitive products in an exclusion category, offering no tariff concessions on items such as dairy, tea, coffee, rubber, tobacco, jewellery, several labour-intensive goods which include footwear and sports items, and also scrap of base metals. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has hailed the CEPA as a blueprint for the shared future of India and Oman, saying the impact of this historic agreement will resonate for decades to come. Listen in.
कॉम्प्रिहेंसिव इकोनॉमिक पार्टनरशिप एग्रीमेंट यानी सीपा हमारी पार्टनरशिप को 21st सेंचुरी में नया विश्वास, नई ऊर्जा से भर देगा। यह हमारे साझा भविष्य का ब्लूप्रिंट है। यह हमारे ट्रेड को नई गति देगा, इन्वेस्टमेंट को नया भरोसा देगा और हर सेक्टर में अवसरों के नए द्वार खोलेगा। सीपा हमारे नौजवानों के लिए ग्रोथ, इनोवेशन और एम्प्लॉयमेंट के अनेक नए अवसर बनाएगा।
To help us understand what this agreement means for trade, industry and India-Oman relations going forward, we are joined today by two distinguished guests. I'm delighted to welcome on this edition of Perspective, Ambassador J.S. Mukul, former Ambassador of India to Oman and currently Professor Emeritus at Sushant University, Gurugram. Ambassador, thank you for joining us. Welcome to Sansad TV. Also joining us is Dr. Ranjit Mehta, CEO and Secretary General, PhD Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Mr. Mehta, thank you for your time as well. Welcome to Sansad TV. Ambassador, the first question to you. So this is the second free trade agreement that India has signed in the last 6 months after the UK. But for Oman, this is the first bilateral agreement that it has signed with any country after the United States in 2006. To begin with, from a diplomatic standpoint, how significant is CEPA for the broader India-Oman relationship?
Well, thank you, and thank you for having me. This is a very significant agreement. Basically, we have had a strategic partnership with Oman for many years. The political relationship has been at its height. Frequent exchanges of visits, including at the summit level. We had the Sultan of Oman here on a state visit in December 23, and now, of course, Prime Minister has gone there for the second time. He had earlier visited there in 2018, and a large number of other ministerial visits. In fact, on the political side, we had also invited Oman as a special guest during our presidency of the G20 and the Deputy Prime Minister and the brother of the present Sultan was present at the September 2023 G20 summit in New Delhi. So the political relations have been at a very strong level. The defense and security relations have also been very strong. Oman is the only country with which we had tri-services exercises, whether it is the Nasim al-Bahar or the Sea Breeze on the naval side, the Jisr al-Sharqi or the Eastern Bridge on the Air Force side, or the Al-Najah this victory or success on the army side. Biennially, we have been having these exercises. In addition, Coast Guard to Coast Guard cooperation and connect is there. Oman is a major strategic partner in the Gulf, both for our OTR, the operational turnaround of our ships patrolling the region, whether it was at the time of piracy and even now.
Right.
Tukum port has been a very major, is a major entry point for logistics, etc. So defense security also we have had very close relations. Somehow the economic commercial ties, though strong, had not perhaps kept up to the level that they should be, and therefore there was tremendous opportunity and potentiality. While trade was there of 10.5 billion, investment both ways have been there, but the potential and the opportunities have remained. Now this CEPA, the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement between the two countries, I think bridges that gap in a manner of speaking. It is also geostrategically important because it's only India's second FTA with regard to the GCC after we have one with the United Arab Emirates, UAE.
Right.
We have been trying to negotiate a India GCC FTA, which is still in the works after many years. This CEPA would also, in that sense, be a kind of building block to a larger India GCC FTA. As you rightly pointed out, for Oman also, it is very important. After the only other FTA with the United States, while they are part of the GCC and that's part of GCC, they have some FTAs by GCC, Singapore, etc. But yes, bilaterally for Oman also, this is the only other FTA after USA, which actually happened almost 15, 20 years ago. So yes, in that context, from that perspective, a very important development, a milestone in our journey of strategic partnership, a landmark judgment, and as the Honorable Prime Minister described it, a historic judgment which will find echo for many decades to come. And of course, his appeal at the India-Oman Business Forum to the business communities of both countries to actually give wings to this CEPA to make it operational. I'll stop here. We can get into the details.
We will try and understand in greater detail about how this economic partnership can be expanded. We'll try and understand which sectors will stand to gain the most. Mr. Mehta, from a trade and industry standpoint now, how transformative is the tariff framework which has been negotiated under this CEPA? Which sectors do you expect will benefit most immediately after the CEPA comes into effect?
Thank you very much indeed. This CEPA with Oman is a very strong, strategic step in India's, bilateral trade. So especially, this opens the door for Indian industry in various sectors such as engineering goods, food processing, textile, and gems and jewelry and all these sectors. I think it will give boost to MSME-led export, which is the need of the hour right now. India has more than 65 million MSMEs. So therefore, at the backdrop of the kind of tariff war which was going in the world right now, which is in fact going in the world right now. So in that case, I think exploring the new markets and having agreements like this will definitely give boost to our exports. We already have a vision to achieve around $2 trillion of exports in next 5-6 years. I think these kind of initiatives like CEPA, which has happened under the leadership of Prime Minister Modi ji, is definitely even going to support our long-term vision, like vision of Viksit Bharat. So therefore, I think it's a access to preferential market for Indian industry, and Oman is very strategically located. Like from there, we can have access to markets like Africa and whole of Gulf. I think for Indian industry, for as far as around 90 right now we have got around $12 billion of trade with Oman, which we expect that in next 2-3 years it can go up to around $20 billion. So that is going to give a boost, and this is going to create jobs at the home front as well as open the new market opportunities for many of our small businesses. And that'll, these kind of agreements also lower the logistic costs, and the custom duties and all, they are simplified. I think that also gives another chance for our industry to be competitive at the global market. I think overall these kind of high potential markets are within the reach of small businesses. Otherwise, today we have got many good products, but if we don't have smooth access to markets, then are those MSMEs who really need the hand holding. I think these kind of initiatives will give them a proper support. I think right now the overall, the ecosystem which is being built for India to take the next, level of growth by exports, I think this is going to support in that. I think these all, sectors are definitely going to benefit. I think for MSME exporters, it lowers the, tariffs and simplifies custom procedures and reduces the logistic costs. I think that we can also expect good investments from Oman in our manufacturing ecosystem. At the same time, from India, I mean, our companies can definitely invest in infrastructure, logistic, and renewable energy. All these sectors are very, very potential sectors. I think overall, the kind of startup ecosystem in India that has been created in past past around 5-6 years, I think this is going to give a boost and market access to a large number of MSMEs. I think this is very important agreement that India.
That's right. So a whole range of sectors that stand to benefit, that have a whole lot of potential as well, which this agreement seeks to harness, towards which we've already seen India securing unprecedented tariff concessions, also extending tariff liberalization. But interestingly, Dr. Mehta, India has also carefully protected some of these sensitive sectors like dairy, agriculture. There are other labor intensive sectors as well. Before we proceed to the next question, tell us about the importance of this balancing act, especially for our domestic industry confidence. This is something that we've also been discussing with countries that we are in negotiations with for a free trade agreement.
Of course, I mean, Indian industry's interest has been taken care of. Whatever, agreements that we are doing, definitely whatever is our strength, and wherever, like you said about agriculture sector, India has like around 50% of the population is dependent on agriculture still. And we have farmers who are having land holding of less than 1 hectare. So therefore, and land is very limited resource. And today we cannot enter into any agreement where the interest of our farmers is not taken care of. Therefore, government is very sensitive of it, and government really takes care of it. We make sure that our farmers, especially the small farmers, they are not affected. So we are giving entry only to those products which are definitely needed here, where the capabilities are not there. At the same time, whatever is our strength, so that strength and whatever is our our unique products, so those products, they get access to larger market. And especially this particular CEPA, which opens up the market even in Europe, Africa, Gulf. I think this is going to benefit the small and medium businesses a lot, because we have large number of small and medium businesses, and they have particularly, three kinds of problems. One is the market access. So this particular, agreement gives market access to large number of MSMEs, and it also lowers the cost. So because the simplified procedures as far as custom, all these things are concerned, I think that this lowers the cost for them, and like they become globally competitive also. I think that overall this is in the interest of the Indian industry, in the interest of our small businesses.
Okay, Ambassador, how do these exclusions and the TRQ-based concessions play out during negotiations? I'm sure you've been part of several of these negotiations. Tell us about how difficult is it to secure these exclusions which are in the interest of our domestic industry and the traders?
No, every negotiation, international negotiation, diplomatic discussions are tough. And the trade negotiations are perhaps the toughest. So that goes without saying, because here livelihoods are involved, economic interests are involved, lobbies are involved, and naturally there are sensitivities on both sides. But having said that, the key factor in any such agreement is the mutual advantage. Free trade agreements happen when it is to the mutual advantage of both countries. Now, in this case, we find that we have been able to get almost near universal market access for all our tariff lines, 98, 90, 99% near universal. And that, I think, is a major benefit from our side. The Omanis have also been able to get perhaps lesser in terms of percentage, but certain critical areas from their perspective. For example, they have got dates now being imported duty-free up to 2,000 tons per annum. Petrochemicals, polyethylene, I believe 150 kilotons, polypropylene, 75 kilotons, etc. Of course, there are safeguards there because some of these will kick in over a period of 5 to 10 years. But these are very vital for Oman. So again, it is a matter of always give and take in the negotiations, and both sides have to feel satisfied, and that's where it comes about. Again, if you look at, it's not just market access. There is also the non-tariff barrier side of it, which is addressed. For example, we hear that in terms of our pharmaceuticals, and I can say this from experience, our pharmaceutical companies have had major issues in the Gulf as a whole, and including in Oman. Now, certifications will be expedited, approvals will be faster. In terms of the halal certifications, which are important for our meat, etc. exporters, both sides will recognize each other's halal certifications. The organic certifications, the global certifications will be recognized, which we have got. So those are also important, the non-tariff barriers. So it's just not tariff, but yeah, a combination of the two, I think, adds to this. Plus, there is also the services side. A lot has been, the CEPA also looks at services exports, whether it's computer related or health services, education services, etc. So that is an important thing. And it is also opens the door or unlocks opportunities for the future in financial services. For example, now we are talking of a linkage between UPI and the Omani digital payment system. Whether RuPay, our card, can be adopted in Oman, and also exploring whether trade can be done in local currencies. These have not happened as of now, but these are the pathways that are for the future. Then the last point I'll mention on this is the investment side. The India-Oman investment flows have been streamlined in the past also. There is the special purpose vehicle called the Oman-India Joint Investment Fund, which is a special purpose vehicle 50-50 between State Bank of India on our side and the Oman Investment Authority on the Omani side. They have successfully implemented $320 million of investments in India over 2 tranches. The third tranche of 300 million is presently underway. Now the CEPA will add In fact, it could be outside the OIGIF, or it could be this special purpose vehicle could be used to leverage further investments into India. And on investments, even Indian companies will find it very attractive to go there. The point about which is mentioned as a diaspora point is really also an investment point. Indian companies have been demanding or wanting that they can employ in the joint ventures in Oman, where we have some of the biggest joint ventures, the OMIFCO, between Kripco, IFCO, and the Oman Oil is $1 billion joint venture for fertilizers in Sur, in Oman. Our companies, Jindal have many, Shadid plant, the steel plant, there is the L&T's projects and TCS and so many others. The point is they have now been given, Indian companies can now employ under the CEPA, 50% of their staff can be Indians. Now, we have to respect Omanization because it is a localization thing, and obviously the unemployed Omanis need jobs. So I think, again, they are very good via media has been found in the CEPA, where the two have come together. The Omanization, of course, remains because, after all, Omanis have to get jobs. Right. But at the same time, the CEPA provides that 50% of the staff in the Indian companies could be from India. So that, again, helps our diaspora. So yes, negotiations are difficult. The negotiations are tough. That is why they take so long. But ultimately, both sides decide that it is in their advantage with a little give and take. Obviously, nobody can have it all. So it's perceived ultimately as a win-win for both India and Oman.
You've covered a lot of ground, Ambassador, with regard to the sectoral impact of CEPA, the services opportunities, as well as the investment and the FDI dimension. In fact, I had a question for you about how the relaxed entry and stay rules in accountancy, in architecture, also health, IT sectors, not to forget, that is one strength of India. How will all of these reshape the Indian service industry footprint in Oman? You've already covered that as well. A geopolitical question comes to mind is, how do you see the CEPA impacting India's strategic energy security and maritime logistics across the Arabian Sea? So this is not just about our bilateral partnership anymore. This is about our strategic interests in the region.
Yeah. Now, obviously, on the energy side, Oman has been a strong partner. We get a lot of crude oil, LNG, petrochemicals I mentioned, which are also covered under the CEPA, the polyethylene and polypropylene, lot of fertilizers and so on. But also now the idea is to diversify, and Oman and India both want it into new and renewable energy areas, green ammonia, green hydrogen, etc. Plus, we should also, from the geostrategic perspective, not forget the geostrategic crucial location of Oman as the sentinel of the Strait of Hormuz. It is not just energy coming from Oman. The Strait of Hormuz is a choke point through which our energy supplies, oil, natural gas, etc., flow from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, Iraq, Iran, and the entire Gulf. And it is interesting to note that in this narrow strait of the Gulf of the Strait of Hormuz, the actual shipping lanes, both entering into the Gulf and coming out of the Gulf, lie in the territorial waters of Oman. And that, again, I think is a very important geostrategic location. But coming to CEPA, idea is to diversify this into non-conventional, etc., while traditionally we have very strong energy security links. On your question about maritime security, during this visit of the Prime Minister, two agreements have separately, other than CEPA, have been signed. One is about the maritime vision. While India, Oman have a joint vision document from 2023 when the Sultan visited us. And of course, Oman has its own vision document of Vision 2040, which broadly aligns or has synergy with our own Viksit Bharat 2047. But in addition to all these, which were already there, this visit has resulted in a joint maritime vision document, which really talks of security first in terms of the close cooperation we have in anti-piracy, etc., but also talks of the economic aspects like blue economy and things, and jointly leveraging the maritime resources or ocean resources. And there is a cultural element to this also, because the one of the maritime agreements talks of cooperation between the heritage and maritime museums have been given important, particularly I think the museum in the National Museum in Lothal in Gujarat. So these have also been covered during the visit, both within the CEPA but also outside in other agreements. And on this last point on the cultural side, let me point out that at that a ship which is a stitched ship is trying to replicate a 5th century AD ship which were trading between India and Oman. It is called INS Kondinya, which will be sailing, I believe, given the monsoon winds later this month or early next month, from Gujarat to Muscat. And it is completely a stitched ship. No nails have been used. It is built out of coir and things, yes, with 16 naval ships. So again, that is also part of the maritime heritage between our two countries.
So lots there in addition to CEPA, which will enhance our bilateral cooperation with Oman. To wrap up the conversation, Mr. Mehta, I'll take one question from you. We've spoken about the benefits, the potential which this agreement seeks to harness. But now all eyes will be on the implementation, and implementation is one area which will be awaited by the industry as well. Going forth, how should the Indian industry prepare itself or scale up its operations to take advantage of the tariff-free access that we've managed to secure? It's unprecedented, but we need to capitalize on this tariff-free access that we now have.
Yeah, of course, implementation is definitely a very important aspect of all these agreements. I think that for that, Indian industry is already prepared. The only thing we have to keep in mind that we have to be very, very quality conscious, which we are now, doing, because when we want to be globally competitive, so in that case, I think quality is very, very important. And secondly, the, now people to people contacts after these kind of agreement, what happens is ultimately the businesses are being done between industry to industry. So now industry to industry contact, people to people contact, delegations, visits, inbound, outbound delegations. These are very important initiatives that will take place now, that we have already seen in our FTA with UK. Many delegations have visited to UK. Same way from UK, there have been business delegations to India. So when people meet, then they start talking. I think now, even with Oman, this opportunity, which is a great opportunity, and which definitely gives access to our small businesses, lowers the tariffs, and also simplifies the custom procedures. So that is going to really give that extra edge to our industries. Now, definitely industry is geared up for that, and with the support of Government of India, there are various initiatives that Government of India has taken. I think that these kind of agreements will definitely boost our exports and give greater access to the industry in this global economy.
Certainly. So with the hope that there will be a real economic impact of the CEPA, we'll have to wrap up this conversation. Thank you once again, Ambassador, and to you, Mr. Mehta, for joining in, sharing your thoughts with us and our viewers. And to you, viewers, thank you very much for your time as well.
संसद टीवी के और भी प्रोग्राम्स देखने के लिए सब्सक्राइब करें हमारा YouTube चैनल और हाँ, इन्हें लाइक और शेयर करना ना भूलें।